As a gentleman from Wisconsin.
Mr. Chairman, at this time, I'd like to yield 2 minutes to the gentleman from New Mexico, Mr. Pearce.
The gentleman from New Mexico is recognized for 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I appreciate Chairman Ryan bringing this issue to the floor. Now, basically, the entire discussion that we're having in Washington right now centers around two figures. We spend 3.5 trillion, and we bring in 2.2 trillion in revenues to the government from taxes. Now, it's the bringing together of those numbers that's the difference of opinion here in Washington. I listened to the President's speech yesterday. I read the text of his speech, did not get a chance to listen. And he says that we can close that gap by taxing the millionaires and billionaires. And it sounds so fluid, it comes off so easy. But I will tell you that it's a process that many nations have followed before. Tax the millionaires. I don't know what Bill Sweat in Artesia's worth, but he tells me to create a job costs $340,000 to buy a new bulldozer, and he needs a pickup truck. So he needs $400,000 in the bank to create a job. Now, our friends on the other side of the aisle in the President's speech said we need to be taxing that money away from him. Nancy Pelosi said a couple of years ago we need to tax the profits of the corporations and spend them. But what you do is you take away Mr. Sweat's $400,000 and he doesn't get a new bulldozer and we don't get a job. So what we have here is this differential, $1.3 trillion in deficit on these top-line figures. That's what we're accruing. Then that goes into our debt barrel. $15 trillion is what we have over the life of our country from George Washington till today. Approximately $15 trillion, and we're bringing in 2.2. Now, if we begin to give the tax increases that the President says, we're actually going to squeeze down the 2.2 because companies will not be hiring people. For instance, off the shore of Louisiana, we're now choking off those jobs. And so every job off Louisiana that the government kills takes one person from paying taxes and puts them up here receiving welfare, unemployment, and food stamps. Economic growth is the only thing that can cure this nation's economic problems. The Ryan budget does that. The President's budget does not do it. Let's support the Ryan budget, and I yield back.
Gentleman's time has expired.